Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about more about pop culture news sites. The very, I guess you call them the very far left or garbage tier websites. People call them the clickbait farms. The bloodbath in journalism continues. And we talked a little bit about this earlier today with, in regards to She-Ra, with Sci-Fi Wire kind of backpedaling on its stance before, where they were attacking the fandom, and then they sort of backpedaled, and now they're sort of defending the classic She-Ra, and we speculated that part of the reason they did that was probably to save their jobs.
Well, I think, yeah, it might be, and also because I think they're trying to get the audience put up for the show that it wasn't there. Like, oh crap, by making the fans mad, we didn't get the audience we thought we should get. So maybe, since season 2's coming, we should try to build that back up. And, they're going to come because we're being nice to them. So, it could be those things also.
I think there's a lot of fear going on right now with these websites. We're going to cover kind of a lot of things. I just found out that Machinima is gone. It's gone. They're shutting it down. Warner Brothers is shutting down Machinima, which is one of the biggest gaming networks out there. And it's been around forever, and it's going to be gone.
Well, they did the same thing with Drama Fever. It was one day it was there, the next day it just was gone. Like, it wasn't even a day, it was the middle of the day. It was just shut down.
Yeah. And, it's been sort of in decline for years. They're talking with, transitional activities or whatever. They had 100 employees before the layoffs. And, Machinima was really responsible, I think, for kind of mainstreaming video game content on YouTube. In the early days, it was a big deal, and now it's just not a big deal. So it is a subsidiary of Warner Media that owns Machinima and this is where it gets interesting, other media brands such as Rooster Teeth, Fullscreen, and Crunchyroll.
So this is Otter Media, which is a subsidiary of Warner Media, owns these, and they had to lay off 10% of its employees recently before this.
Yeah,
it was in December.
Right, and we know that Drama Fever, they shut it down.
Yeah, there was just no warning. It was just like, hey, it's there. Oh my gosh, it's gone. What the heck happened? It was just gone.
Yeah, and Machinima, they were bought in 2016 by Warner Brothers Digital. So this is really interesting. Now, they're not really a news outlet, but we're seeing a lot of these digital companies, they've been around for 5-10 years plus, being reorganized and shifted by the corporations, and basically comes down to the fact that they're not performing, they're not bringing the money in. And I think in Machinima's case, it's just like there's so many independent YouTubers doing better gaming content that
it's probably true. I think YouTube's dishing out a lot of
hurt.
Yeah, I honestly think so.
I think YouTube is actually to blame for a lot of this.
You can get more you can get more fact-based, balanced news off of YouTube than you can on these sites a lot of times. Yeah,
so and that's going to lead us into what's going on next, and we'll talk a little bit about where we think YouTube actually fits into this. So Gawker. And I have to give a hat tip to Tim Pool, Timcast. I actually saw a video he did on this the other day, which is what encouraged me to look into the situation. If you're not subscribed to Timcast, go out, do yourself a favor and do it. He is an actual journalist. He has actually worked for some of these companies. He has a very good grasp of where these companies are right now. Gawker, if you remember, we did do a video talking a little bit about it, and Gawker was instrumental in the Gamergate situation.
Which again, we weren't around for that.
We were not around for Gamergate, but everybody seems to think that we were around.
Yeah, apparently we were leaders in the movement and everything else, even though we weren't even there.
Yeah, we were apparently in Gamergate because we made the Gamergate trash list on Twitter. Anyway, so Gawker was hugely responsible for a lot of what went on with Kotaku. That was one of their sites. And Gawker basically got sued into oblivion and disappeared, and their remaining sites got sold off to Univision as part of Gizmodo. And they have, Jezebel and, The Onion, Kotaku, IO9, which is...
We had like a flippin' flow chart.
Yeah, we do.
Because I'm like, this is to this, to this, to this, to this. I'm just like, What?
Somebody said on an earlier video we need to get the little pins with the string and
I feel like that Julia Roberts meme where all that stuff's around her, she looks confused. That's what I feel like. It's like this to this to this to this to this. Anyway, IO9, go ahead.
Gawker got shut down. Basically, it was a garbage website, and they made a lot of enemies, and they got sued into oblivion. And Gizmodo was one of their sites, and they took the remaining sites, got sold off to this other company, and they're not performing. They're not making money. I think
imagine that.
The only one of their sites is actually making money right now, as I understand it, is The Onion.
Yeah, because it's funny and everybody relates.
Because it's funny. But the rest of their sites are garbage. IO9 and Kotaku, they're not making money. So Gawker is coming back, but the person who's buying Gawker is not the kind of person that Gawker would have wanted to buy Gawker. In fact, he's been described as a shitlord.
I know. I asked you, why are they calling them a shitlord?
Because just his
we're just quoting on that one, right?
He is it, yes. So this is coming from New York Post. I'll read a little bit of this and I'll show you what's going on. People are already quitting before they started on New Gawker. New Gawker is not going to be the same website it was a couple of years ago. So this could get awkward even by Gawker standards. Fragments of the former Gawker empire may soon be reunited by a scruffy 35-year-old media mogul who has gotten blasted by some of its snarky sites as a frat boy, a fuck boss, and a self-satisfied shitlord.
How do you self-satisfy yourself as a shitlord?
Don't even ask questions. Brian Goldberg, a hard bargaining web entrepreneur who scooped up the Gawker site out of bankruptcy for $1.35 million last summer. That means it's like basically worthless. In like web economy, that's not a lot of money. He also scooped up, I think he scooped up Mike too, which was another very, very far left site for like $5 million. It's closing in on the Gizmodo Media Group. So he's actually going to try to get, he's got Gawker, he's bringing it back. It's not going to be the far, far left Gawker
so wait,
was
now
before.
He's going after Gizmodo too.
He's going after Gizmodo, which is basically worthless now.
It's kind of funny. Remember when you keep saying the pendulum swinging?
Yes, the pendulum is swinging. This is what we're trying to get across. These garbage tier sites, the BuzzFeeds and the Vices. Oh, hey, yeah, speaking of Vice just laid off 10% of its workforce.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not like, gloating over this. I'm just saying the reason these sites are laying people off is because this kind of quote-unquote journalism is not financially viable. You're catering to a very, very small percentage of people, and you're not bringing in enough ad revenue. And frankly, YouTube is kicking your ass. Independent journalists, independent YouTube channels are killing these major sites. So this guy's coming in, and he's scooping these sites up for next to nothing, and he's going after. So I think you're going to see the end of IO9. I think you're going to possibly see the end of Kotaku, or you're going to see a major editorial shift.
They have Jezebel and everybody.
Yeah.
AV Club.
These
are all the people that go after fans constantly.
These are the sites that attack the fans, and that's where we're going with this, because this isn't just about these garbage tier websites going out of business. This is about sites that deliberately provoke and attack fandoms. Are going to be coming under new management.
And then they whine because people fight back. How dare you? You're just picking on people who are different than you. And it's like, well, you started it.
Yeah. So the new Gawker, they hired an editor. Her name is Carson Griffith. I'm not too familiar with Carson Griffith, but immediately she's made waves at Gawker. She said that they said she skipped out of training sessions on diversity in the workplace. She just didn't want to be bothered with it. She met with a potential new hire, a non-binary person of color who uses the they-them pronouns, and she asked, LOL, is so-and-so a girl? They cited her saying that it would be hard to hire writers of color because she thinks writers of color are only good about writing about race.
Ooh, I don't agree with that.
Nah, I don't agree with that either. During Breslau's interview, she recalls Griffith pulled out a snack out of her pocket. That's so poor person of me.
How is that?
And people are quitting over this.
I mean, wait. So you make a joke about being poor. We've been poor. I mean, we've been poor. We live in a poor area. If you follow our story, things that we're doing like with dolls and things. We live in a very economically depressed area. It's a real problem. And even if someone says a poor person to me, I would not be offended by that. Now, the comment about people of color not being able to write is absolute garbage, and that makes me mad. But the part about the poor person thing is just nothing to get mad about. Go ahead.
So they're pushing for her to get ousted before it even starts, because this is like a complete 180 from what Gawker used to be.
This is kind of funny.
It's kind of funny.
I mean, I don't agree with their opinions on some of this stuff, but I still think it's funny. I can see the humor in it.
They said that they took the claim seriously and they'll continue to review. Yeah, so the dude that runs it, he used a woman as a desk in a photo spread promoting his new site for women, Bustle. And he declined to remove Griffith from her position as editorial director of the site. We really didn't want any of this to go this way. Kusov tweeted, this is a different guy.
Wait. He used the woman as a desk. Wait,
is this real?
Wait, what?
I have to see this.
Oh,
Brian Goldberg, yeah. He used a woman as a desk.
Oh, see, I picture him sitting on her or something.
No.
Okay,
that's not that bad. Come on. She's just,
And that could be the photographer who positioned it that way,
So they've got, so basically these, folks are complaining. They're complaining about, Gawker coming back under Brian Goldberg and putting in somebody who's not very politically correct. And you know what? They're just like tough shit. So I don't know what's going to happen.
I just think this is funny. Joking about poor people finding it difficult to hire writers of color. Okay, the writers of color thing, I completely agree that was crap. But the poor people joke wasn't that bad. I mean, no. I've been poor, and I do not find any offense in that whatsoever.
Some poor people can't afford to have snacks in their pockets. That's just.
I mean, really? She said maybe these pants make her butt look big. Somehow she's defending fat people because it made her butt look big. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, so of course we know that BuzzFeed laid a bunch of people off. We know that, Huffington Post laid a bunch of people off. We know that Vice is laying off 10% of its workforce. I mean, this is brutal. This is like the clickbait website apocalypse is going on.
It says the layoffs are revealed in a memo. It said the company has finalized its budget and now shifts the focus to executing our goals and hitting our marks. So right there, they're telling you they're not making the money.
They're not making money.
Hollywood Reporter reported layoffs. The cuts will impact around 250 people. Wow,
10% of its
That's
workforce.
a lot. Where they cut? Strategic restructure will affect everyone.
Finance to TV.
To editorial to IT.
To IT.
So it's everybody's getting cut.
I think you're going to see a lot of the, this is right after BuzzFeed, right after Huffington Post. And Gannett, the nation's largest newspaper chain, they laid a bunch of people off too. Media is changing, and I really feel that, if people are going to get the news now, they're getting it from social media, they're getting it from YouTube, they're getting it from more and more independent news sources. I think, going back to what's going on in pop culture.
Oh yeah, people
right now.
Tell us about this.
But what's going on in pop culture is these websites, and again, you look at Bleeding Cool and you look at the Mary Sue and you look at how they constantly attack fandoms and YouTube channels, and I think it's basically just jealousy, because those YouTube channels are taking their eyeballs and they cannot survive.
Look who it is.
Oh, geez, Rachel Leishman again. Leishman?
Whatever her name is. We always argue that.
She's interesting.
People were mentioning this to us on our other She-Ra thing. It's funny, because I saw this when I was scrolling through. When I was looking through stories, I saw it, but I don't really, I've watched it over a couple times, not really, something I watch, but I remember thinking to myself, whoa, wait a minute, is this the right site? And I just kept scrolling because I just didn't care. But I remember seeing it and thinking, wait, whoa, this is on the Mary Sue? Really? And then I thought, well, there must be something about it that they, pushed some kind of agenda I missed, and I just kept moving on. The people brought this to our attention today because we were talking about the She-Ra stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, but she basically, I guess, as I understand it, she blew off the Orville initially, and now she's going back and sort of I guess it's not so bad. I think they're probably backpedaling because they know that if you go against the fandoms, they will go someplace else.
And look at this. At first, my problem was that I thought that the Orville was mocking shows like Star Trek with its tone.
Well, kind of is, yeah.
Well, I mean, not just this. I mean, in general, that's a kind of a thing. Sure, we've seen shows making fun of our faith before, but it with content like Galaxy Quest, it's clear that these kinds of productions are rooted in the love of the series. No shit! Sorry, no crap. They're poking fun at. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. That's why they're good.
But
anyway, go ahead.
But we talked about earlier today that, Sci-Fi Wire, which
I still love that title.
Last fall, the oral history of He-Man. Last fall, did a live stream with the people behind the new Netflix She-Ra. They were attacking the old show. They were mocking the old voice actors, and now they're backpedaling, and they're like, yes, actually the original show was progressive and it was good, and Gen X is pretty cool.
And Gen X has their, is in control of the pop culture. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're told all the time that we're old. I was told I was menopausal, even though I'm not anywhere near menopause age, and that we're old and that it's not for us anymore, and we need to just kind of shut up and let them have it.
So here's the thing. If you guys are so fantastic, why are all of your websites shutting down? Because there's not a large enough audience for this kind of stuff, and it's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Stick to the facts. Try to stay in the center. That's what news is supposed to be. They're supposed to be, centric. They're not supposed to, or factual. They're not supposed to be constant opinion pieces where you crap on everybody. Basically, it's like a power trip for these people. I really think it is.
Yeah, if you want to give your opinions, go start a blog or a YouTube channel. But again, if you're going to go start a blog, you might have to learn how to code. So this is nothing new, though. This has happened before, and I'm going back to just a couple of years ago. Again, tying this into pop culture sites. Comics Alliance was a pretty sizable comic book, quote-unquote, news site. It was basically political opinions disguised as comic book news.
So political opinions disguised as articles, much like today.
Much like today. And AOL shut it down 2 years ago because it wasn't making money.
I wonder why I hadn't seen them around anymore.
They also shut down Joystick, a gaming site that also had opinions and was shut down. So this has happened before. I think we'll see the end of Kotaku. I think we'll see the end of IO9. I think we'll see the end of a lot of these. I think we will see the end of the Mary Sue sooner rather than later, because I don't see where their ad revenue is coming from.
That's why they're trying to reverse course on some of this stuff. I mean, but they still mostly are. I went through the articles; it was still mostly that same old.
The opinions, yeah. It's like pop culture, politics, pop culture, and politics.
Mostly pop culture and politics.
Right, and the Mary Sue, now they're not doing it as much as they were a couple months ago, but they're really pushing the membership thing hard because the site doesn't generate enough revenue. I don't think it generates enough ad revenue to make it sustainable. I really think that they have other websites as part of this media group that are basically footing the bill for the Mary Sue, and the time will come when the Mary Sue is not going to be able to pay for itself. And I also think, speaking of pop culture sites that are going to be on the chopping block, I think Bleeding Cool's day of reckoning is coming soon. I don't understand how Bleeding Cool even stays in business. It's owned by a very small comic book publisher. They don't seem to get a lot of traffic from what I can judge. They don't have much of a social media presence. They've only got like 2,000 subs on YouTube. They don't get a lot of shares on their articles unless it's something sensational, which is why I think they kept beating the Comicsgate drum so hard, because it was good for views. It was good for clicks.
Look, we still exist.
Yeah, we still exist. We're still relevant. I think we'll see the Mary Sue and Bleeding Cool shut down in the very, very near future. I mean, if Vox...
I don't know. They might hold out longer because they're smaller. You know what I'm saying? They might hold
Well, they can kind of go under the radar. They don't have to hit the benchmarks.
They're not, they're not as big as some of these other sites.
But like Avatar Press owns Bleeding Cool. Avatar Press barely publishes anything. Like, where is the money coming from? Maybe I'm not... Well, I mean, look, I had to put the ad blocker on just to be able to open the site. Freaking, this would be littered with ads. So maybe that's where the money's coming from. I don't know. But I don't see them being sustainable long term. These kinds of sites are they're just not sustainable. It's not sustainable. People are going to YouTube and they're going to more balanced news sources.
You said it was balanced. I don't think going clear to the other side is any better either. I think you need a balance in the middle where people need to report the news and then to report on what's going on in pop culture without the constant political spin.
Right.
Without the constant hate on, well, you didn't like it, so, I'm going to make articles about how stupid you are. Like that one guy, I forget his name, but he did that one article about Star Wars and somehow it became about Trump being a golden toilet and everything else, remember?
Yeah, it was actually pretty sane. He was talking about, how toxic Star Wars fans were, and it was pretty sane until he got to like the last paragraph or two, and he had to get
insane. He was going off the rails before that.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't that bad, and then it completely went off the rails.
What the heck just happened? Or Jeffy called everybody douchebags, like She-Ra.
Yeah, I know. But this is the day of reckoning is coming. And you're going to see, I think, a lot of pop culture. A lot of the sites around today will not be around 2 to 3 years from now. I think you're going to see a rise in independent journalism. I think you're going to see more balanced websites take the place of these sites. and especially in pop culture. I mean, literally, I think YouTube has killed off the need for a lot of these comic book websites. You know, independent YouTubers, and that's why they hate them so much. I really think that's why they hate independent YouTubers, comics YouTubers, comics reviewers, you know, channels like ours that give our opinions on pop culture
but
and Star Wars.
We try to keep it balanced.
But they hate channels like that. They hate people like this because they're not part of the system. But the system is failing. It's failing miserably. So, learn to code. Go start your own.
That's hate speech. How dare you?
Speech. Go start your own website, because these are not going to be around much longer. They really aren't, and it's you know, power to the people. I think people are just tired of this. They're tired of it, and tired of the garbage websites. Most of them, honestly, I don't know how many were actually truly financially viable in the first place. From where I'm sitting, most of them look like they were living on venture capital. Like they were living on venture capital for years. Yeah, that was a big trend.
That you've seen that for a while now.
Yeah.
It started about like 5 years ago.
Yeah, well, it's about 5. There's usually a 5-year cycle.
And that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
Now they're all out of sale. They're cutting off money.
They're out of money.
Because these all started showing up a few years ago. I mean, a lot of them. So yeah, it makes sense.
So that's where things are, guys. You know, keep watching our channel. We're gonna give you the straight dope.
We're gonna try.
We're gonna give you the straight dope. We're gonna try. Might have our opinions, but you know what? We're not a reputable news outlet like you know, Gizmodo or Gawker or Vice or BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
We're CLOWNFISH TV. Deal with it.
Reputable.
We're CLOWNFISH TV. Deal with it.
That's our new hashtag.
Deal with it.
CLOWNFISH TV. Deal with it.
Deal with it. All right, so we're gonna wrap this one up. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, rants, gaming videos, art videos, and more. This has been Neon and Geeky.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hey guys, thanks for watching CLOWNFISH TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.